Hi everyone, welcome to our top 10 list of the best Kim Possible episodes that ever Kim Possibled. With your host, ILoveKimPossibleAlot, the best expert in the whole world, except not really. Before we talk about today's episode recommendations, I thought I would talk about why Kim Possible is still important and impactful, and maybe if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out on Disney+. If you like my silly videos, please remember to subscribe and click your notification bell. It helps and hopefully spreads the word around. Woo. I think the reason Kim Possible has aged so well in the general consensus is it took great lengths to have a unique tone. Yeah, it's true that Kim is essentially a compost character who doesn't have many predefined character traits herself, besides the whole saving the world is no big deal, but teenage problems are scary, mom. Its biggest strength is having the characters connecting with their surroundings, and therefore the audience by lampshading and overall being self-aware. Say for instance, a hero in any medium is trapped in the bad guy's lair, and the lair itself is like a piece of garbage, because the set is cheap or something. I'm looking at you, Adam West Show.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray.
We as the audience see that. When the hero himself points it out and uses it to question the budget and success of the villain, it sets the stage for a great way to build up both character dynamic and development. These kind of interactions shape Drachten from a somewhat serious Bond villain into a Flanderization of a funny, bumbling, amazing character that we all know and love.
Figo!
Cerebellum, ultra smart, super genius thinking society? Are you kidding me? Whoa.
And this is obviously for the better.
Enough chit-chat! My pets are famished. Perhaps you two could stay...
For lunch.
I wasn't going to say that.
You have something that doesn't belong to you. Okay, technically it doesn't belong to me either. But I'm a villain, so I don't particularly care.
That kind of back and forth storytelling dynamic later influenced shows like Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb is even more exaggerated and ridiculous, and fundamentally why the Kim Possible live-action movie is a lot less charming and inherently good than the original is because something that might be charming in one medium might just translate into looking cheap and corny in another, as well as the audience suspension of disbelief changing. We can believe that a cartoon character can do all these amazing things, but can we believe a real 16-year-old girl can? Probably not.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got myself into this situation.
Number 10, Steel Wheels. Steel Wheels is an episode where John DiMaggio is just talking to himself the whole time.
I'm the evil genius, and you're the mechanical genius. Sweet, dude! I say we ferociously trick this baby out. Seriously, you hear that, Shigo? We're tricking out the Doomsday!
Not only is the animation amazing, but I feel like it asks the core questions of bad guys and their MOs in the show, but more on that later. This one is one of my personal favorites because of the comedy back and forth of the villain mashup on this one, which you'll see is a recurring trend for the series if you're new here. Particularly, I think the banner here works in both ways, having Drachten both be entertaining as well as getting him out of his comfort zone. Despite the bad man line here,
Newsflash, Shigo, I'm a bad man.
I don't really believe that Drachten is all about power, and especially not killing the innocent. This line is here to prove a point. Kim herself has to get out of her comfort zone in this episode, and having a good mix of plots where Kim is the weaker skilled player helps ground her character, so she's her best adorable self here. Number 9, Emotion Sickness. This is the episode that historically is considered a fan favorite, and heightens up the tension between the boys and the girls and shipping intensifies. The plot centers around Kim and Shigo getting stuck with a mood-changing gadget, and there's a love mood which makes them act very out of character. While it probably wasn't wise for this episode to feature Kim and Ron's first kiss, and Drachten and Shigo's only kiss, the physical comedy and dialogue this episode induces make it a highlight for people who don't know what the show is about, or seeing the characters interact in extreme situations. It's not about just saving the world or the villain of the week, but it's also about character dynamics themselves. Number 8, The Fearless Ferret. Now this is an episode I didn't really have much context for until I got older, and a great example of being clever with your setup while still making the plot have contextual sense in the universe. The whole episode is a parody of 60s Batman, going so far as to cast the late great Adam West as the Fearless Ferret himself here, something that he's been pretty much doing for most of his career. But the plot gets more complex, because it actually serves as a parody to the DC animated universe's Batman Beyond. which you get it because they share the same voice actor, Will Friedle. It also addresses Ron's character arc as being Kim's equal, which we'll get into later in the series. There's also a twist in here that I won't ruin unless you've seen the episode, but the episode in general is a great use of parody while also addressing some paradynamics, when you have a strong, capable female with a comic relief sidekick. The episode could have been a standalone parody, and it would have been fine, but we take it one step beyond here at Kim Possible.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Number 7, Mad Dogs and Aliens. Mad Dogs and Aliens is the first big return of Drachten post-So the drama, where someone finally breaks him out of prison, and then they forget to put him back in there. Whoops.
Now put that thing back where it came from, or so help me!
He doesn't go back, by the way, like, ever. This episode sticks with me not only because of its top-notch Drachten-themed humor, but it's one of the few times Chico and Drachen's relationship is tested. There's always the assumption that Chico just stayed with Drachten because she's bored and it's easy work, but this episode is the first to hint that there's something greater, as well as establish the villains for the series finale. But still, working for Drachten is familiar to her, and the fact that she's not the one in control wrestles some jimmies.
Ugh, what's the matter with me? You'd think a girl would learn.
We still don't really know who the Great Blue really is, but this episode puts the characters in situations where usually apathetic Shigo has to work for something where it's unclear why she wants to work with it. But she does. Yay, testing characters. Number 6, Dimension Twist. Dimension Twist is a fun Season 3 episode that is not only fun because it has a lot of focus on our main four working together, but in a way that parodies classic television all the way around. Everything from Friends, to ER shows, to Teletubbies, to the Adam West Batman. Drachten and Shigo aren't totally bad people, just like keeping busy, so when you get the deadpan character working off happy, cheery Friends setup, these kind of instances start to blend the medium enough that you forget you're watching a Disney show. The comedy breaks it up, kind of like Gargoyles did with drama. Dimension Twist, if you watch a lot of television anyway, is a comedic dip into what we can consume a lot of, in a fun kind of parody way. Number 5, Bad Boy. Talk about mixing up the stakes! Bad Boy works for the same reason that a lot of these entries work, because they focus on the character development between the main four, while both addressing Drachten and Ron's ability to not be able to do anything, really. Ron's got mystical monkey powers. He can be a threat, you know, when he wants to.
I thought you were supposed to be some sort of master of monkey kung fu.
You know, it's funny, it comes and goes.
But for the most part, this is an episode that also shows Ron's true potential as a threat, if he wants to. This plot is an interesting take on the Freaky Friday trope, where instead of switching bodies, the characters swap moralities.
What happened? Everything went white, and then black, and then blue. I'm blue! I'm blue!
Drachten becomes an expert baker, while Ron becomes pretty evil and competent.
Ron, you've got to stop. Evil isn't your thing, it's Drachen's thing.
But I'm so much better at it! Did Drachten ever build a plasma blaster this dangerous?
It goes to show just how brilliant Drachten is. But he's just too much of a passive threat and generally a pretty nice guy for a villain to really hurt someone. He's a big doof. The dialogue in this one is just also too fun.
Tri-City Convention Center. It's the annual supervillain shindig.
How'd you know that?
On the mailing list.
I thought I was signing you up to win a tank, okay?
Oh, ooh, feet itching, good sign.
Since when are itchy feet good?
Please watch it if you can. Good job, Nicole. Number 4, Rappin' Drachten. Rappin' Drachten is a favorite of mine because Drachten is at his hamminess and funniest. Plus his scheme is on the more creative side. We need to distribute a mind control product. What's the best way to do it? Drop it in a rap on national television, because if not, no one will f***ing buy it.
I know I'm gonna regret saying this, but I think you may have finally achieved so dumb it just might work.
This episode is a good example that putting characters in extreme and odd situations can not only be a good writing exercise, but turn out iconic and really define the media in question. Kim Possible as a show is best when all the characters have to work off each other, and the main four of the cast get to do that from the very start here. I think people underestimate the villains as well, and good cartoon villains should be able to carry a whole narrative act by themselves, which Drachten and Chico do here. Drachten doing a rap was the funniest thing to me as a kid, and it's still pretty funny and great.
Lather and obey. It's time to wash our hair today.
And this episode in general is a great example that children's media doesn't have to be unsophisticated. Highly recommend.
It's Dr. D's brainwashing shampoo and cranium rinse. For Sheezy, it's off the hazy.
Number 3, A Stitch in Time. A Stitch in Time is the first movie event around Kim Possible, made up of 3 different parts. The grandness of it is the villains are put in an environment where they have to work together, which is really entertaining given how conflicting their personalities are. Drachten is goofy and slightly stupid, Monkey Fist is serious, Duff is just kinda there, and Shigo doesn't want to deal with any of it.
Man.
It's also interesting that the movie's thesis is essentially that only Shigo is smart enough to take over the world, but never bothers due to laziness, or it not being as fun.
Shigo is the supreme one? Well, you could have mentioned that.
I thought it was obvious.
Considering that Drachten has technically come the closest in So the Drama, I wonder if that claim holds up post-season 2. That all said, the biggest strength this movie has going for it is focusing on Kim and Ron's relationship, something that the regular show usually takes for granted. As strong as Kim is, she needs Ron's emotional support, and sometimes his dumb luck in order to be successful.
See, traveling into your past, I realized one thing. As a team, you two are actually solid. Why? Don't know, don't care.
These breakdowns in Kim's character show her weaknesses, that even though she labels herself as a Mary Sue type, pretty much, she is kind of the opposite in everything but the crime fighting. A Stitch in Time also has very interesting alternative universe takes on the main characters, and how assertive they have to be to rise up to the test, specifically Monique and the brothers. Also, Wade is ripped for some reason. Well, okay.
I am sickened, but curious.
The story arc seems to have some slight growing pains of the series attached to it, which explains a little bit of the weaker moments, but its handling of character relationships as well as showing how capable the whole cast is in a situation that calls for it is a nice touch. Get it? Situation? I'll shut up. Number 2, So the Drama. So the Drama is brilliant for a lot of different reasons, but not many people really appreciate how it balances both a confident and threatening Drachten while still keeping him in character. First, some history. The So the Drama Disney Channel original movie was originally planned for a theatrical release, but for unknown reasons the idea was nixed. I imagine due to the potential risk, so we got Sky High instead. I personally think this worked out for the better, because not only does a big status change help when the show is in its original medium, but it helps when the animation is gorgeous. This is the best Kim Possible has ever looked, fight me. The script was written by series creators in early season 1 as a final episode, and it amazes me how well it still works. Like Discord from My Little Pony, my Kim Possible obsession didn't begin until So the Drama. I'm drawn to how media can recontextualize itself, with the most famous example being this.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
If Kim and Ron were interested romantically in each other in some way this whole time, what does it say about their past actions? Was the whole Josh Mankey thing just Ron protecting his feelings about how he's afraid of losing Kim? Probably is the answer to that question.
You ever notice that Mankey is but one vowel away from monkey? You know, I'm not implying anything. It's just something to think about, that's all.
Minky monkey.
On Kim's side, we want someone to not be intimidated by her skills and view her as a person, which Ron does.
I'm weirding guys out. They see me on TV, roundhousing some goon out a window. It's a vivid image.
I feel like in a more realistic world, maybe that's why Kim would have probably gotten interested in some other type of celebrity, someone who does something a little bit more unusual. That's why celebrities and YouTubers date each other in similar fields, so they get each other. In Kim's world though, Ron is that guy who treats her like a person and understands her. It's good. So the drama has to frame itself in a way that makes Ron start to question where his own feelings of jealousy are coming from. And although it's convenient that Eric is a plot device, it gives him that push. Drachten also gets some great insight that manipulating something that Kim is vulnerable in, being a teenager, is the best option for winning against her. Kim as a character is awkward and odd, and why she works is because saving the world and being a teenager are on equal planes for her, and that's generally how she keeps a level head about all this stuff. The rest of the film kind of fills in those dots, where Drachten has to gather pieces to make his technology widely distributed, like a virus, while Kim is distracted.
If you can't figure it out, she can't figure it out. And that means...
you just might win.
Oh, I'm quite confident.
The film has everything and highlights the character dynamic between not only Kim and Ron, but all the leads. On the surface level, this is another film where the guy has to realize that his friendship with his friend who is a girl is threatened to examine how he might feel about her. But its strength in both tight writing and character dynamic make it much more than that. It's really brilliant and highly recommended. Number 1, Graduation. Graduation is a highlight of the show for me because it fundamentally acknowledges that Drachten and Shigo are just as part of the show's heart as the main characters Kim and Ron. Their interactions with Drachten and Shigo, how this defined them, are part of why the show is so unique. The threat of the world is equal to that one time that Drachten bought out a fast food chain, and it's up to the heroes and villains to save the day. The episode is also important for the main villains getting closure in a way that's beneficial. Drachten wanted to be good at something, and since his motivations in rewriting history are null and void, I don't know, I kinda like this. Similar thing with Ron though, Drachten by himself is even less competent, so the writers gave him a flower thing, I guess.
Official flower business.
The villains themselves are hard to take seriously after the off-switch joke, but they still mean to kill, which is a first for this series.
Madness is this!
They found the off switch.
Long have I questioned the wisdom of that accursed switch.
Yes, Drachten tries to destroy Kim all the time, but I don't really think he thinks he's going to succeed. Megamind complex, essentially. So although it doesn't handle things perfectly, the special does a great job with matching the scale of other big Kim Possible adventures, but still fitting into a two-parter episode. It also deals with elements of change that are not parallel to the show's ending, and the status quo of the story ultimately being shaken up. Grease ending. I keep my super confusing username for a reason. Kim Possible is a great show, and one of the biggest writing points it taught me is that interesting dialogue and characters can make the characters more believable and self-aware. It can also help the audience relate to the characters and make the world more believable. I personally need twists to get totally obsessive with characters and shows, and the Kim and Ron twist did that for me, recontextualizing their relationship in the show and their relationship up to that point. I'm just so glad the show got an additional 4th season. Being such a die-hard fan of the show and being able to watch new episodes of it at the time is one of my best memories growing up. Please, if you haven't seen Kim Possible, I strongly urge you to check it out. The whole show is available on Disney Plus legally for your binging pleasure. I don't know why you're watching a channel called ILoveKimPossibleAlot without at least trying to watch it. It's not a perfect show, but the highs outweigh the lows, and it's still one of my biggest personal and artistic inspirations. So what's your favorite Kim Possible episode or moment? What things do you want me to talk about next? Let me know in the comments, I might check them. Thanks for watching, and see you next time, communicators. And that's all, folks, except it's not time for the ending gag.
You are heterosexual, or at least someone who is determined to break out of the friend zone. Ron Stoppable is the true hero. You probably also ship Kim and Ron, and you are a huge believer in girls running the show. You get turned on from pet names. You have all the qualities of a Kigo shipper, except the exact opposite. Turns out that guy who had a Canadian girlfriend was actually telling the truth. He's not gay. We were surprised too. You were one of those kids that liked to ship your teachers to distract you from your own social life failures. You're that guy that got friend-zoned and are still salty about it. Worked for Drachten, didn't work out for you. Your ideal date is getting Senpai to notice you, and you get a little too invested. She dug him out of the earth. You're the kind of guy that goes with the flow. What's your favorite Kim Possible ship? Yell it at us in the comments. All caps, I dare you, I dare you.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please remember to leave a comment and share this video with a friend or 2 or 5. Click here to subscribe, we really appreciate it. Click here to check out the main collaborator for the video. Click here to check out our video playlist for this video, where you'll find similar videos that you might just like, hopefully. There's also a credit scroll here to check out all the other awesome contributors. All their info is in the description. That's all I gotta say, KP away!